What is going on, Tuto Postal listeners? Welcome back to another podcast. Today we will be covering only the Premier League, and it's just me and Beef today. Beef currently catching up on some Arsenal news, as he should, with a lot happening over there. But first, I guess we'll say what's new with the podcast, what's happening around our little business here. I'd say a lot. Me and Beef recently started a new fantasy football show covering our personal fantasy football league and all the happenings in that. We'll be doing that hopefully weekly. And the fantasy football season is coming at us fast, and we're just having fun with that. So if you like fantasy football and you like this podcast, go check that out on our YouTube channel, D2 Posto. Actually, Beef mentioned it's not T2.
Tuto Posto.
Yeah,
No
but
the.
if you look it up, you'll find it, and it's linked everywhere. But yeah, so on top of that, I do plan to start posting these podcasts on YouTube more, so we have a running count of them, and don't lose them because our SoundCloud is limited to minutes, and we are not paying the premium to have unlimited. We're just kind of having fun with it still, and unless we find a way, I'm sure there's a better way to upload them all or with an unlimited capacity, but too lazy. On top of that, the Instagram and Twitter is firing off on all cylinders as usual. At the Tutoposto on both of those. So if you like cool graphics, news, and just funny tweets, go follow those. Thank you very much. But yeah, I'd say that's it for the podcast as a whole. Also, new Tutoposto golf logo. Go check that one out on Instagram. But yeah, probably going to change the Tutoposto logo too at some point. It's just a TP at the moment.
There's
But
currently also a soccer ball in there, which it's not. I guess it's not fully a soccer channel anymore now. I
I'd
guess.
I'd say Tutto Posto is our name, right? And this Tutto Posto podcast is soccer coverage because that's how it was formed. Golf has split off into its own page, so it's under the umbrella, and fantasy football, same thing. It's called the It's Fake Football Show. So I mean, it's not fantasy football; it's fake football. So yeah, it's Tuto Post is at the top, and everything is just kind of trickling down. So I mean, we'll see how it goes. Each thing should probably have its own channel, but right now they're just all going to one.
So go
So
follow that channel.
exactly, go follow everything. We're working on it. But now we're into Premier League match week one has concluded on Sunday. There was no Monday game yet. There is a Monday game coming up, so that's exciting. But yeah, match week one concluded, and match week two is coming up. So we're gonna go over match week one and all those games, big news, et cetera, et cetera, and then go into match week two with some of the bigger games this coming weekend, and some score predictions and all that jazz. So before we get into that, there's some news I guess we're gonna cover, and just talk about that stuff before we get into the games. Beef, you had some Chelsea transfers that you like to keep track of because they're so funny.
Well, we're not going to call them transfers. We're just going to call them Chelsea business because it's the only thing they do. Um, so I don't know why Chelsea gets to do this and no one else can, but basically Emerson, Batshuayi, and Kennedy all re-signed until 2023, and then all got loaned out immediately. Emerson to Lyon, Batman to Besiktas, and Kennedy, who I don't know why he's still on Chelsea, went to Flamengo.
Love it, yeah. I don't know why it's the extension part that gets me. I know, like it's like you don't want to lose into a free transfer because I'd say Emerson and Batshuayi still have some value. Kennedy getting a little older, and he's
Hey,
just been
he's
been in the system.
25. He's
I know,
25.
I know, but like that, there's a point where the loan seems a little weird in your career, and 25 kind of seems to be that age. I'd say within the next year or so, he should probably just bite the bullet and find a new club. Even though he does seem exciting, but it's just Chelsea never plays him because he doesn't have a spot in the squad. He's just not good enough.
I
Same
will
with
say, I know this is an EPL podcast. Kennedy did destroy Napoli last year. This did happen. I'm just throwing it out there. Paul's not here to defend himself, but I just want to throw that point out there. You can let him know that I said that.
Yeah, I mean, you bring it up all the time. You love to point it out. Kennedy did score two, correct, against Napoli.
I think it was a goal and an assist in their 2-0 win.
Okay. Yep. He just went off against Napoli, Paul's Napoli. Unfortunate. And Beef loves to bring it up, which is absolutely amazing because it's funny.
I think I said it before the game because Paul was like, "This is a game that they should just cruise through, and they're gonna lose like 2-1." And I was like, "Nope, Kennedy's gonna score a brace and 2-3-0." And then it happened, and I was ecstatic.
Yep. And then some more news. I guess Kane. We will talk about the Spurs game as a whole, but Kane news as a standalone. He no-showed the game. In my opinion, that's what he did. He did not show up to this game. There was no news beforehand that he was unfit or had an injury that he couldn't make this game. He was expected to be there, was left out of the lineup, did not show up, and it was against City, which adds to it, just like into the drama of the whole situation. City obviously linked to Kane, but he didn't show up to this game, and I guess I mean, we won't. I won't get into it too deep, but it showed that Man City might need a striker, and Kane might be that guy. We'll see. There's still time left in the transfer window, but on top of that, they have a UEFA playing game, correct?
Yeah, they have like a UEFA. It's the like Europa Conference League game.
Yeah, and Kane will not likely be playing that game, but they are saying he will be fit for the upcoming game against Wolves in match week 2. So I guess stay tuned for more on Kane and all that. But Beef, you had some thoughts on this Kane news as well.
I mean, I don't agree with this whole like Kane's outright skipped the game and he just did nothing and blah 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 blah. I don't agree with that. From what I heard, he went on holiday after obviously they lost. And apparently he didn't come back to training. Like he wouldn't have even started training until like 3 days before the game. So I don't even think he would have been fit, but he wasn't even at the game, is what I was like. He wasn't in a box. He wasn't anywhere at the game, which was a little weird to me. But um, I honestly, I'll put my thoughts on the Spurs City game later when we talk about it. But I don't agree with this whole slandering of Kane saying he outright skipped the game because I don't think it's true. I mean, obviously him not being there doesn't look great, especially when they were playing against the team that he's linked to. But I don't agree that he outright skipped the game. So
Yeah, in the game, I mean, showed that City does really need a striker, in my opinion. But I think it would be super. I'd say good for the league in drama wise if Kane stayed at Spurs, because I mean he'd obviously do fantastic at Spurs, and I mean I haven't seen City linked to any other striker, so them not getting a striker would put them in a tougher spot, I'd say, uh, and make the league a little more interesting. Because if they got Kane, it'd be absolutely unfair.
I mean, I think Kane scores like 33 goals in that offense. So like in the Premier League only, I think he
Yeah,
scored like he could
40
miss the
all
first
comps.
3 or 4 games and still score like 35 goals.
Yeah,
Because I
40,
feel like he's gonna
40
have like
total.
28 tap ins that are just fed on a platter to him, and then he'll score a couple good goals.
Yeah, having Grealish, Foden, and Sterling and De Bruyne linking you.
De Bruyne, Mahrez, Foden, uh, the list goes on. I mean, if they ever play Bernardo Silva, he's still like apparently his evaluation, and he's never gonna play this year, is like
He
60
might,
mil.
yeah, he might leave. He was a part of the bargain to get Kane, but I guess never really went through, supposedly. But we will get into match week 1, and we will be skipping the Arsenal game for now. We're going to leave that towards the end because, as well as the Chelsea game, because Chelsea and Arsenal play next week. So we'll be getting right into the Man U Leeds game, and I'd say Man U put on an absolute show. 5-1 was the final score. 4 assists from Pogba and 3 goals from Bruno Fernandes. Unbelievable games from both of them. Pogba, I believe, became the 7th player in Premier League history to record 4 assists in one game, and that is one more assist than his total of last season. So I'd say Pogba is feeling good right now, and if he continues on this path, this Man U team is going to be dangerous. Um, we all had them towards the top four, but in our prediction podcast, but I did not expect this from them. And Greenwood, I'd say, looked fantastic. We did question their striker, Cavani. We all said was kind of old. He does have the capability to score goals, but he's not going to play every game. He did not play this game. But Greenwood could be that guy. He looked fantastic. He's a fast, young striker, and I mean, surrounded by the team that's there, they could do damage. Obviously, Varane didn't play. He was announced before the game, but that's only going to make the team stronger. So yeah, definitely title contenders in my eyes, and this game was fun to watch.
So I have a lot of things to say about this game. One, I do not like Bruno Fernandes. Two, he scored a hat trick. Three, I don't care. I mean, I just really don't care. Like, I saw what I needed to see at Euros. I pretty much saw what I needed to see. He played like shit for Portugal. And then he goes to this Man U team and they kind of are just like, do whatever you want.
Yep. He picked right up from last year. He's one of the stars of this team. I mean, Ronaldo does have that effect on players, maybe. And when you're expected to do so well with Ronaldo in front of you, maybe he just didn't play to that potential. But yeah, Man U, Bruno is something else.
I mean, I'm kind of happy they won 5-1 because this is the classic Man U where they're like, at least to the last, since Sir Alex left, that was when they were scary because you were like, fuck, they can do this every game. But recently, in like the last like 6 years, they go out and they do this, and then they're gonna go and play like Norwich like 2 weeks from now and lose 3-1, and it makes no sense because they'll be it just honestly makes no sense because I don't know what's wrong with this Man U team, but even last year they did it. They went out and they smoked like teams that they thought were going to be really good. Like everyone was saying Leeds could contend for top 6 this year. That I know we weren't saying it a lot, but I have heard a lot of rumor where they're like, oh, they can take the next step, jump in to maybe get that 6th spot. But I just I think having first of all playing at Old Trafford to open a game when you haven't had fans in a year, I think that helped. So I will say that. But I don't I just don't think they can contend for the title. I I'm very not high on I mean, Greenwood played well, but they don't have a set striker that is going to play there every game that's going to score 20 goals. Like Bruno could score 20 goals. Good for him. But I'm very low on the fact that I think without the striker, it's what they're missing. I think their defense will be good this year. I think their midfield will be pretty good. I think Pogba and Bruno will be good. The third midfielder is a little weird, whether it's Fred or Scott McTominay or something. But I'm just, I can't believe in this team. I refuse.
Yeah, Fred even scored, and the announcers were like, it's a bad day when Fred's scoring against you. But
Leeds also played terribly.
yeah,
Leeds. So first of all, Leeds can't play defense. It's a known problem. They can't play defense. They're great at scoring goals, but they can't play defense.
yeah, I'll say I agree and disagree with you. I agree that they do lose to smaller teams in the past couple of years. That has been a problem. I do think they're definite contenders. I think they shocked me a little bit, and I'd say they're, in my opinion, definitely contenders for this league, and certainly going to get top four. Where I agree with you is the striker situation. I'd say winning clubs tend to keep the same lineup for most of the year. That the continuity of a team is very helpful to keeping the same or keeping the morale up, keeping the chemistry there, and just dominating week after week. So yeah, rotating striker is going to maybe pose problems. But if they find a striker for the Premier League and then use Cavani for um, Champions League or something else, cup games, that could work. You also have Rashford who could play striker. So if they start mixing him in, that's going to maybe throw some things off. But in the end, they're just filled with superstars. And You saw a little bit of Sancho, but not even a full game of him. So we'll see what happens with him too. I mean, he could add to the mix for sure.
I just don't. I can't get behind a
Yeah,
team who is
yeah,
managed by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like he's not a good manager. Jesus, he's bad. Everyone, please believe me when I tell you he is bad. This team is really, really good. And if they had a better manager, I would be in on them being title contenders. This guy doesn't know anything.
yeah. He has his ups and downs, but it might not even
No,
be
he
on him.
only
It's
has
just
downs.
the
He
team
only
has its
has
ups and
downs.
downs.
He sucks.
Yeah, I don't expect you to change your opinion. I love your opinion on Ole and ride with it the rest of the year. We'll see how it plays
No,
out.
not the rest of the year. For the rest of my life.
All right. But we move on to Leicester Wolves. Leicester wins the game 1-0. Wolves fall short. Vardy gets on the score sheet. Um, just an absolute legend of the game, and love to see him getting on the score sheet. He was one of my picks for Golden Boot winner this year. He's always in the mix, and he got the first one, and it was a good one. So it was like a weird flick across the net to the left side. Fantastic goal, and he's off the mark. But yeah, good win for Leicester. And
If we had a hero and screw up of the week, he would have been highly up in my hero of the week numbers just because after he scored, he ran to the corner flag in front of all the Wolves fans and howled.
Howell,
That
yeah.
was elite. I'm sorry. You can't just that's pure shithousery and I love it.
Chat shit get banged. But yeah, while he was one of my picks for Golden Boot, Spoots, our betting guy, I'll shout him out. Put a little money on Lukaku winning the Golden Boot. He did miss the first game, but he's expected to come play this coming weekend, and the odds were at plus 500. I think Kane was the favorite, but yeah, I'd say Lukaku is a great bet. And Steve disagrees, but in my opinion, he's definitely going to be up there in the running.
I don't think he'll win it. I'll say later on who I genuinely believe who will win it. I have to look at the odds first. I can't just take favorites. Everyone knows this. I'm a value better.
Okay,
But I'll let you know later on.
okay. But yep, that was Leicester Wolves, and we're going to skip the Chelsea game. Watford Villa. This was a part of Spoot's parlay. His second parlay, he won the Watford Villa draw. Ended up 3-2 in favor of Watford, and that parlay was busted. So tough loss for Spoots there, and I really don't have much else to cover on this one. Except we all picked Watford to get relegated, and they're off to a good start with a nice win against Villa.
I don't want them to get relegated. I just think they will. But that's a very good win, I think.
Yeah, solid win against a club that is expected to do well this year, but they're maybe just dealing with a little bit of Jack Grealish loss right now and still working around the team and trying to figure it out.
They
Next,
looked they looked a little
okay,
lost early, but John McGinn scored a fucking worldie. I don't know if anyone saw that. It was
I
like
did
a
not.
bullet. It was like a low bullet cross from the top of the box, and he curled it into the top corner. It was sick.
I gotta go watch it. But we move on to Everton Southampton. Game ends 3-1 in favor of Everton, and I'll say this was a part of Spoots' first parlay, which he won. Everton money line he had, along with Man U money line and Chelsea Palace over, all three hit. He ended up positive units on that one. He did only go 1 for 3 on the week, but when you're positive units, you can't complain. And then we have Brighton Burnley. Brighton 2, Burnley 1. Another team that I had in relegation, they ended up winning 2-1, and I guess getting off to a good start. Points are points, and 3 is going to help them just do well all season long. When you get a season opening win, there's nothing to complain about, and we'll see how they do. But still a relegation team, in my opinion.
Burnley sucks. That's all I'm gonna say.
Burnley does suck.
Burnley very much sucks.
Those are actually both relegation teams for me. So, that's battle of the bottom right there. Someone had to win. And then we had Liverpool versus Norwich. Liverpool 3, Norwich 0. Norwich beef.
Norwich. Never pronounce the W. Rule number one.
So tough loss for the Canaries, but not an easy opponent, of course. Liverpool back to full strength and looking good. Jota, Salah, and Firmino with a goal. And yeah, all I'd say for Salah's was good, but I think it was a little lazy from Norwich there defending. He just had a left foot curler, too much time, but great goal nonetheless. And yeah, I'd say good season opening win for Liverpool, and but Norwich should be fine. I think they're a good squad. Just came up against a tough opponent.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to play Liverpool early. I genuinely believe in that. If you look at Liverpool at the beginning of last season, they looked like they were going to repeat up until like Christmas time when everyone got hurt. Like they were undefeated, I'm pretty sure, going into Christmas, maybe one loss, and then they lost Van Dijk, they lost all their center backs, and they lost. I think they lost like 7 of 10 games or something, and drew 2 of those. So they had one win in 10 games or something. It was absurd, and they still finished third, right? Chelsea finished fourth, Liverpool finished third. So I mean, I think this team, they need Van Dijk for sure. But good start for them, 3-0 win. Obviously had a good first week opponent. I think everyone kind of knew what Norwich was going to do. They're nothing special. If they're gonna stay up, they're gonna beat bottom teams. I don't think they're gonna beat a bunch of top teams. So I think that's just a good start for Liverpool.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we move to the Sunday games. Newcastle 2, West Ham 4. Started off the morning with an absolute barn burner. At moments, you thought this game was going to tie, and then things just keep exploding. Penalty, rebound, given up, and Suchek gets on the end of it. Unfortunate for Newcastle. But, West Ham's a good team, and they piled on at the end. I think, yeah, we all had West Ham doing decent to middling in our prediction podcast, and I think they're still like around that area. I think there's a lot of good teams in this league, a lot of good teams at the top, so they might fall a little bit down, but still a good team, and nothing Newcastle will really do there. Just just a barn burner. Goals were going to happen no matter what.
I think West Ham's gonna be fine early on, and they might struggle middle to end. Having to play in Europe definitely I don't think is beneficial for them. I don't think they're deep enough for that. I think their starting 11's pretty good. Um, but once you get past that, they struggle a little bit. So I think early on in the year they'll be completely fine. Once they start playing twice a week, that's where you might start seeing them struggle a little bit. Obviously, if Rice and Suchek can play every single game in the Premier League, that's great for them. But if they're playing every game in Europa, every game in the Prem, every game in cups, stuff like that, they're going to get burnt out quick. So I think they might be a kind of a team to watch in the middle to later end of the year, depending on how they do in Europe. More so the middle, I think, will be very crazy for them. They might lose games you don't expect them to.
Yeah, come Christmas time, we'll see how they're doing because that's the big part of the season where games come fast and players are just tired and need rest. Last game of the week before we get into our teams, Tottenham versus Man City. Tottenham wins 1-0, and what a lot of people are saying was a outclassing by Spurs over Man City. Spurs fought for every ball. They looked good. Son played fantastic. Ended up with the goal. He had some good chances, and then he finally ended up with the goal. It was a little, I'd say, miscommunication between defender and keeper. Ederson thought that Diaz was going to block it. Diaz kind of weirdly tried to block it and just did not. So Ederson was stuck on his feet and really didn't even make an attempt at it. So good goal, but weird in my opinion.
I think he
But
would have saved it if he dove. Personally, I said that when I watched the goal. I said it wasn't that great of a shot. Like it was a good shot. It wasn't a great shot where there's no chance Ederson had it if he dove. I think if he dove, he could have got fingers on it. Genuinely, he just didn't move.
yeah, it was to the corner, but I mean, he had time to react. It was
Yeah.
just he did not react because he was confused. But yeah, Ederson's a great goal. He definitely could have had a chance at it, but it went in the end. And Son played fantastic. Uh, and Davison Sanchez, who we gave some shit about inconsistency and always getting red cards and being boomer bust kind of. He had a good game, so I mean, there's that to look forward to if you're a Spurs fan. Romero still to come in, looking forward to that. Um, yeah, this team looked good, and without Kane. We mentioned that earlier. No Kane during this game. Expected to come back for the next game, so we'll see what happens there. But I mean, if Kane stays on this team with the new manager, they seem revamped and happy to be playing again. So yeah, we'll see how this team pans out in the coming weeks. If Kane stays, the transfer window coming to an end soon. But yeah, good game.
City looked lost without De Bruyne. They looked good, like possessing the ball, like they're always going to. But when they got to the final third, it just kind of looked, what are we doing? Who do we get the ball to? We don't have a striker. Like they were playing Ferran Torres at striker. They had no guy who could just like go in and like even like just like throw the ball in to head the ball. There was no their one guy was like this little guy who was just trying to make little in and out runs, but they like to play through the wings and it just they looked lost. De Bruyne came in like the 70th minute and then I was like they might score. Like there was some points but they just never really got good chances to have shots. I mean, there was a couple but Gabriel Jesus sucks. There's a reason why he didn't start, even though he's the only striker on their team. I don't think he's very good. I mean, personally, I probably would have just done like Sterling at striker or something because he's annoying as shit and he knows just how to like be in the right place at the right time. He might be offsides like 5 times, but he's gonna just go out there and kind of do his thing. I think they looked a little weird because they were kind of letting Grealish do whatever he wanted without De Bruyne on the field. But it kind of made Sterling useless because Grealish would go off the left and then Sterling's like, where the fuck do I go? Because Grealish was technically playing in the midfield, but he was playing off the left wing a lot. And it Sterling was just like, I don't know where to go when this guy just likes to run at the right back. So he kind of, you can't really play them together because Sterling, when he plays outside, he plays outside. So I just think they looked a little lost without De Bruyne. Once De Bruyne came in, they looked a lot better, especially attacking wise. But they didn't have a lot of their. I mean, their whole team's playmakers, but they're like two big ones that everyone mentions is Foden and De Bruyne. Foden's still out with a foot injury from Euros, and De Bruyne didn't start. I don't know if it's still related to his eye injury or what, but just didn't start with first game. Maybe he had a break after Euros or something. I'm not sure if he was fully fit. Not 100% sure, but they definitely don't look good attacking wise without De Bruyne. So I wouldn't say they technically fully need a striker yet. I want to see De Bruyne play a full game first because I think he's good enough just to feed balls in to anyone and they can score. But if they get Kane, I think it's just unfair. So
Yeah, I mean, De Bruyne probably just getting some rest, and of course they're going to look different with him back to full fitness and playing 90 minutes. But I mean, yeah, they might have to change a little bit this year and spread. They're always going to spread the wealth with the goals, but maybe they won't have guys scoring 25 goals this year. Maybe everyone's scoring 12 to 15. My question was on Grealish. Would you compare him to Hazard style wise?
yeah, yes, but no. So Hazard only played off the left, only, and he loved to dribble at players, which Grealish also loves to dribble at players off the left. But Grealish can play anywhere and he flows everywhere, whereas Hazard he was more of like I stay on the left and then I'll dribble in. Grealish kind of does. He loves little quick dribble 1-2s, get me the ball, I'll score, or I'll find the next guy to score. It's a little different. He reminds me more of Alexis Sanchez than Hazard, I think because if you ever watched Sanchez when he was at Arsenal, he liked to move around wherever he was, but he played off the left technically. That's more of who he reminds me of.
Yeah, I'd say initially that's what Hazard did. He for most of the years at Chelsea, he did play off the left, and that was his thing. His signature move was to cut in and shoot with his right foot. But towards the end, I'd say he did start venturing off into the middle of the field in more of a free roam role, similar to Grealish now. Obviously, Grealish a little bit, I'd say maybe a little bit younger right now. Hazard probably was like 28 while he was doing that at Chelsea. But yeah, I'd say that was who I was comparing him to, especially like stature wise. He's a big body, but like quick and just great with dribbles. But yeah, I just wanted to compare that because the price and if he doesn't pan out, because like Hazard was just a game changer. So I mean, if he doesn't end up producing goals and a ton of assists, then that was my thought. Because I always hold these high transfer prices to they really got to pay out, otherwise they're a little bit not worthwhile.
I think he'll be good in this offense. I don't think he'll be the like if he stayed at Villa this year, I think he could have put up like double digit goals and assists. Um, but I also think in this offense, he's not the focal point. De Bruyne is. He always will be. He's the focal point of the team, not just the offense. So, which he should be. He's their best player. But I also think I just think that he'll be important to the team because I think he's a different option. They just have a bunch of different wingers that do a bunch of different things, which is good, but I do agree. I think they do need a striker. Also, their normal guy who they play in their false nine is Foden. They play him up top, and he wasn't there, obviously, so that may not have helped. But I think he'll be very good on this team. I don't think he's going to be like Hazard though, because Hazard was Chelsea's offense for like 3 years. He was their whole offense, and he just doesn't have to be. That's what I think.
Yeah, and I mean a lot of talk about City there, but good win by Spurs and off to a good start. Tough loss for City, but we think City will bounce back in the games we'll be covering in a second. But we'll go back to Arsenal, who played Friday, and if you want Beef's thoughts, we're gonna talk about Arsenal a little bit here. But if you want Beef's real thoughts, go to the YouTube page, check out Gunnar Beef's thoughts, and the Instagram page as well, Dito Toposto. We put an IGTV show up, so check it out there. Go like it, comment on it, listen to it. Let us know what you think. But Arsenal did lose. We know that. We covered it. Beef, we got some news otherwise on transfers.
Arsenal, one is definitely done. The other is has not been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, so it's nothing's true yet. But the confirmed one would be Martin Odegaard has joined. They haven't said the exact amount. It's somewhere between 35 to 40 million. A lot of the initial reports were 34. I'm not 100% sure what the number is. That'll probably come out over the next few days. But I think that's a really good signing. 34 million for someone they were saying was going to cost 50 to 60, most likely. And I think he is really good for what he does. He'll fit into this Arsenal team. I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to play attacking mid. He doesn't play full on attacking like an Ozil used to. He's more so he can play defense. He can sit back a little bit more. I don't expect him to play holding midfield, but I think he's a little bit of a different option where you can kind of it's not always attack, attack, attack. He's kind of more of a complete midfielder. I think it's a very good signing for the value, especially just in today's market. 34 million's basically nothing in comparison to some of these deals. Like they were saying, James Madison was going to cost upwards of 70 million. Do I think he's twice the player Odegaard is? Not even close. I honestly think Odegaard's probably going to be the better player in the long run, and Madison is older. But I very much like that move, and I think Arsenal could really use him in a midfield that doesn't look great right now, especially just due to injuries, but also I don't think for their formation, they don't have the right midfielders, and I think he's more of a fit in that midfield.
And the other guy?
And the other is Aaron Ramsdale. The rumored fee is 24 million and then 6 million in add-ons. I'm not sure what the add-ons are, so the rumor is 30 million overall. So the reasoning for this apparently is Arsenal hired someone who used to work for the Premier League last year. And apparently with Brexit and everything, there's going to be a change to registering English players. So if you don't know, when you register 25 players for the Premier League, 8 of them have to be English. You don't have to register players who are under 23. So basically, they don't count towards your 8. So for example, like the Smith Rowes and the Sakas, those they don't count towards their 8. And apparently, after this year or something, it's going to make English players price tag skyrocket because they're going to be so much more needed. Because if you don't register the 8 out of the 25 players, you literally can't play. So Apparently that's what I've been hearing. I don't actually know if it's true, but that's what I've been hearing, and that's why they went after Ramsdale, White, a lot of that stuff. Apparently Arsenal needed a backup goalie too. I don't think they needed to go after someone who has like Ramsdale's pedigree. I mean, I don't think paying 30 million for a backup goalie is good use of your funds, but I do believe that I think he's pretty decent. He's young still, obviously, and he could definitely fight for the starting job. I think Leno's really good. There's a lot of mixed reviews on Leno, but I do think he's pretty good, but he really hasn't had any competition since he joined Arsenal, so I think that might also be beneficial for both of them.
Yeah, I'd say good signing. Yeah, price tag's a little high, but it's not crazy. And Leno, in my opinion, is a good keeper. Statistically, he's been a great keeper. Arsenal just got to figure out the defense. And once those two pieces start clicking, Leno could start pumping out clean sheets again and be considered one of the best keepers in the league.
Someone tell Arsenal to sign a fucking right back, please.
It's just how it works, you know?
Please. I need a right back.
Maybe not this window, people.
No, they need to buy a right back, and it's the only thing. If they buy a striker before a right back, I'm going to kill someone. Because, cool, buy a striker. We don't need one. I mean, it's just, I am not very they need to buy a right back. Was the number one position going into the summer. What do we need? Right back. Bellerin doesn't want to be there. He's made it very well known. I don't want to be here. Get me out of here. I think he's had like 2 moves break down, but basically he doesn't want to be there. He's their best right back, and I don't even think he's that great. Ever since he tore his ACL, he hasn't looked good. He lost a lot of his speed. So they need to buy a right back this window, and it's the most important thing for them to buy.
Yeah, after securing Odegaard, moving on to the next target and just move on to the next one. Focus, move on, get the next guy. That's what hopefully they're going to do. We'll see. You're an Arsenal transfer guy, so we'll check in next week.
There's no rumors anymore because both of their rumors became deals. So
now they're going to start new rumors.
I mean, that's the hope. I would like them very much to buy a right back, but I have a feeling they're going to buy a random right back who I will not like. So
we'll see. And then the last game of match week 1, which we skipped over, Chelsea Palace, again covered on the Instagram page and YouTube page, Michelangelo's Blues, as they are my team. 3-0. Marcos Alonso free kick. Pulisic gets on the score seat with a nice little tap-in. And Trevor Chalobah, which we covered extensively. First goal, Premier League debut at home. Fantastic goal, by the way. Meant a lot to him. Fell to his knees, started crying. Embraced by the whole team. And making a case for being the starter on this team while they were going after Koundé. I haven't heard much for this Koundé transfer in the past couple weeks since things kind of stalled. And I don't know if they need him. He's a good potential future prospect, but Chalobah is just as young and potentially just as talented. So we'll see what happens. And, if he's going to be on the bench or starting week after week, again, Chelsea's defense has been fantastic, and having some depth would be good. So I think he's going to make a case for starting on this team and skipping over Koundé this year. And Steve's CP falls 3-0.
Guys, in case you didn't know, Crystal Palace has already been relegated for the season. That is the thoughts from everyone that literally every single person I've ever heard of. Basically Brentford beat Arsenal. So they're like going to finish like 8th because they beat Arsenal. Arsenal's like B team. But I also think, CP's done, they just lost to the Champions League winners, so like they have no chance. I mean, they lost to a team that won the Champions League. They don't have a chance to stay up. So
classic first game overreaction.
There's a lot of overreactions after match week 1. I'm going to say that before we move into match week 2. I want to throw it out there. Man U and Tottenham are fighting for the title. It's a 2-team race. Liverpool is a close third, but they're not quite up there. And then Chelsea, they might finish top 4, but But it's definitely a two-man race between Man U and Tottenham. So.
Yep, and then we will move on to match week 2 of 38, just to let you know. Liverpool Burnley kicks off with a nice 7:30 game. Absolutely love that. Get up early morning, and Liverpool's going to win. Simple as that. Burnley is a relegation team, and
This is a shit pump alert.
Do not stand a chance.
This is a shit pump alert. I'm sorry. Salah's scoring a hat trick.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind it. If we could predict some relegation teams and Burnley's on that list, I can't complain at all. No one really likes Burnley that much.
I might go out on a limb and say if Burnley doesn't get relegated, I might eat a hat. I might use the Paul line.
The one you're wearing right now?
No, not this one. I like this hat.
Okay, yeah, that's a nice hat. Don't eat that one. And then we have Crystal Palace versus Brentford. Last podcast, multiple people said this is a gut check for Crystal Palace and could dictate the rest of the season. Brentford, obviously coming off a fantastic win. The stadium was absolutely buzzing for this game. They were just ready to go.
I see what you did there. They're the bees. They're buzzing.
Buzzing. This game is at Selhurst. Crystal Palace traditionally does play horribly at home, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Palace looked like they had to find themselves a little bit. Not looking fantastic, but Brentford could be a game where they get right. Yes, they did beat Arsenal. Yes, that is a good win, but they're still a newly promoted team, and Palace, just has the players, has the experience to win these games. They do well against middle of the pack or these type of teams. So, I mean, we'll see what Steve thinks. Maybe he'll give some thoughts. But in my opinion, I think Palace can win this, and I won't give a score, but they can win it. But, I mean, Brentford's going to be tough.
I agree that Palace probably should win this game. I hated Palace's lineup against Chelsea. Absolutely hated it. No new signings besides the striker, which I didn't agree with because Benteke was on fire at the end of last year. I think you got to play the hot hand. Obviously, there's been a summer, but he was on fire at the end of the year. So I did not like that they didn't play him, and they didn't really play any of the new signings until later on in the game when they were already losing. So it didn't really matter. I don't know. I don't know my thoughts on this game. CP sucks at home. Brentford looked good. They looked very good at countering. So I will say that Arsenal dominated the possession of that game, which helped Brentford, I think, because they looked very good on the counter. Crystal Palace sucks at holding the ball, as you saw against Chelsea. They tried very hard against Chelsea early on to hold on to the ball. They just didn't look good at it. But I think that might play into their advantage against some lower level teams that they can't hold. Like a lot of these lower level teams, they look like they can counter well, but they don't really hold possession well. So this is kind of going to be the game of who's going to counter better because CP is known as a counter team.
Yeah, if it's a 50-50 split, there's really no chance for as many counters. Both teams probably going to play a little safer. But yeah, Brentford knows how to score. We saw that on Friday. Palace maybe needs to find a way to score. And, I mean, they came out as a joke, we'll say. Steve all last year complained about the 4-4-2, and then this year Vieira comes out with a 4-4-2 on game one. Pretty funny. But he does have a lack of players to choose from with an Eze injury until the winter, so cut him some slack. But, I mean, with high hopes for the CP team for some of us, the 17th place predictions from a lot of people might actually come true, and Paul's 20th place prediction might actually come true. We'll see what happens. And then I'd say this is a pretty solid game, even matchup. Leeds versus Everton. An easier game for Leeds. Everton is not Manchester United. And, I mean, Everton had a great win last week, 3-1. Leeds should be coming back with some ferocity here. They know how to score. But, I mean, Everton is a solid team. And I'm unfortunately going to have Leeds losing here. Another game in a row. Leeds, high praise from a lot of people. But this year, starting off slow, I think. And Everton's going to win it. 2-1.
I got a draw on the table. That's what I got. I very much believe both of these teams are not good at defense. Very much believe it. Jordan Pickford at Everton. He ain't it. He looked good the Euros, but I don't think he's it at Everton. Give me 2-2.
All right, so yeah, some goals, but ends in a draw. I like it. Then we have potential shit pumping City versus Norwich. Norwich. Yeah,
Norwich.
I don't have much to say here. I think City's gonna bounce back with a win here. It's a good team to come back from a loss with, and I'm gonna go 4-1 City, and yeah, just everyone calms down about the loss, and City's back to dominance.
I really don't want to answer how I think this game's going to go. I don't think it's going to go well.
For who?
For the Canaries, it's not going to go well. They're not playing against Huddersfield Town anymore. They're not playing against like these random teams that they used to pump because they can score. But Norwich, I don't know what it is. They look great in the championship, and then they look like shit when they come up to the Premier League. It's just a classic thing. The only chance they have is if August Pookie shows his face again and he just goes off and he scores 6 goals in 4 games and then disappears for the rest of the year. It's their only chance. He has to score at least 6 goals in this game because City's putting up at least 5. So I think, you know what? I'll give City's defense is really good. This is a classic City comeback game where they just pump a team that doesn't play defense well because they can't stop their wingers. I'm going like, I want to say 7. I don't think Norwich's defense is good at all. I think they can score, but I think City's defense is too good. No, Pep won't be that much of an asshole. Give me 4-0.
All right, yeah. Yeah, like you said, I'll just ride off it. I watched the Baggies game today, and the Baggies are a similar team, I'd say, to Norwich. Always dominate the championship. They press teams. They know how to score. They score a ton. They're always at the top on the end of the season scoring lists. But then they show up to the Premier League, and the teams that they play are just levels and levels above the championship. And it shows they cannot press as much as they want. They cannot be exposed at the back, so they just have to pack it in. Game plans change. It's just what happens. And yeah, like you said, City's one of the best defenses in the world, one of the best defenses last year. On top of that, they did not play Stones last week, so I mean that's something to toss in there. The big pairing last year was Diaz and Stones, so maybe they get that back, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, their defense is too good, and I don't think Norwich can really score against this team that much. And we move on. Brighton Watford, really, I don't really have much to say on that one.
Give me Watford. I'm believing in them. They won last week. Come out hot and beat Brighton away.
So this is 2 of my teams again in the relegation zone. I'd rather see Watford win as well. Yeah, screw Brighton, go Watford, 2-0 Watford.
Also, no. I'm throwing it out there. Go check out the Instagram page for the Tuto Posto for why we are picking Watford. They have Dogecoin on their sleeve. That is all you need to know. True. We're all in on Watford.
True. I did not know that before the EPL prediction podcast. It could have boosted my ranking.
They're not getting relegated with that thing on their sleeve.
No, to the moon. Absolutely love it. I did not know that, and I saw it somewhere. I was like, I think it was on. I was on like Robinhood. Clicked on the news section, and it said like Dogecoin boosted by Mark Cuban, Elon Musk again, and Watford having the sleeve logo. Absolutely love it.
There you go. You heard it. Put all your money into Dogecoin.
Yep. Absolutely. Next, Southampton versus Man U. I believe Southampton was a potential relegation team for some of the podcast members, not me, but I think maybe Paul. Yeah, they did lose some players, Danny Ings notably, but Armstrong got on the score sheet last week. This was the guy that they brought in to replace Ings. He got in on the score sheet with a fantastic goal, by the way. So shout out to him. But yeah, Man U's looking good. Was this a matchup that ended like 9-1 Man U?
Yes, this was the 9-1 game.
Okay. That's what I thought. So maybe a repeat of that. I think it could happen. Man U looking fantastic. And if they can just ride the win from last week, they'd love it. The fans will love it. not even biased fans would love it. People love goals, so if Man U just continues scoring like this all season long, this could be a game that happens again. Um, Southampton's okay, but I think Man U's just better. And with a full team out there, they could do it. I'd say I'm gonna predict 3-1 Man U.
I was gonna say I'm very in between on this game. This could be a classic Man U rides the high horse and just scores 6 goals against Southampton. Or it could be Man U shows up and just lays a brick. Um, I'm very between on the two. I don't think there's an in between. I think they either score 1 or 0 goals, or they score like 6 or 7. And I know this is such a Man U thing because I can tell because I hate their manager and he has no respect for people. I feel like he's the kind of guy, if he can score 12 goals in a game, he won't tell them to stop, which is not what big clubs do. I'm sorry. You don't go and score 12 goals against Southampton. Like if Man U goes to Arsenal and they score 12 goals, good on them. Good on them, okay? But you don't pick on little clubs and score 15 goals against them. I'm sorry. I don't agree with that. I think I think that's something Liverpool does and City does. They don't run the score up on purpose. They score 4 or 5 and then they're like, "Okay, it's the 50th minute, pass the ball around." Man U, I don't think they're that kind of team. I think they're the kind of team who will just go and bully little clubs for fun. So, I'm going 7-1.
Yep. All right. So I'm in the in-between club. You're in the shit-pumping club. But either way, we both had Man U winning. Then we have Wolves versus Tottenham. And it's a reunion game, I guess. Revenge game maybe for Wolves, but reunion for Nuno at his old club. And I'm thinking Spurs are going to win this one. Supposedly Kane is back, like we said. I think if he's back for sure, Spurs got this one. Just they're trying to prove themselves. Spurs had a tough season last year, and they're looking to bounce back. Nuno off to a good start. 2-1 Spurs.
I'm very hit or miss on this game. So, my one take on this game, Spurs looked great countering against City. I don't think they're going to be able to counter against Wolves. I think they're going to hold the ball and they're going to have possession of the ball. So, it's very big if Kane plays or not on my prediction. I think he's going to play.
Yeah.
I very much believe he will play. They looked very, very good countering against City. They didn't look very good trying to possess the ball against City. Now that's not easy to do. You're playing against City. Wolves had a problem with scoring last year. That was their biggest thing. They weren't a terrible team. They just couldn't score. I think they were pretty decent at holding the ball. I mean, their last 4 games in the Prem are loss. They did play Leicester, so that doesn't necessarily help. So I'm not sold on scoring yet. I don't think they can score still. I don't want to pick Tottenham. Really don't, but I think they're going to win like 1-0.
Yeah, I didn't either, but
I think they're going to win 1-0 just because I don't think Wolves can score, and I think Tottenham's good for like 1 at least. 1-0 or 2-0 would be my guess.
yeah, I didn't want to pick them either, but I think they're the better team here, and come on with the win. And then beef. We have the 11:30 game on Sunday, Arsenal versus Chelsea. As will be posted on the Instagram page, Lacazette and Aubameyang still doubtful. Believe they have COVID beef. Is that correct?
Not confirmed, but it's very much believed because the rumor coming out that was never approved by the Premier League because I think it's a little questionable. But the reasoning is there was a close contact about like 4 hours before the Arsenal Brentford game on the Arsenal side. So all the Arsenal players had to get a test for COVID, and anyone who had symptoms could not play. So that's why there was 4 Arsenal players who did not play who were supposed to play against Brentford. And the rumor is that the EPL wanted to cancel the game, but it was the opening game of the weekend, and they really didn't want to do that. So that's why the EPL won't confirm it, because they don't want it to look like, well, we should have canceled the game, but we didn't. So I think that was one of the reasons why they won't confirm as to why they weren't as to why the 3 random players just mysteriously disappeared off the bench or starting lineup.
Yeah, so I mean, unfortunate. Arsenal dealing with a ton of injuries, and I mean, this just adds to it the illnesses. But Lukaku is expected to play in this game, his first game back at Chelsea. I think that's a big boost for the Chelsea side. It is at the Emirates, but I mean, without sure thing attacking presence on Arsenal, and I mean, even with Odegaard coming in, not sure if he plays right away, but even with him coming in, Partey's still injured, right, Beef?
Partey's out, Gabriel's out, and then their 2 strikers will be out. Those are the confirmed people who are out.
Yeah, so I mean, Arsenal dealing with it. Maybe another. I mean, their lineup wasn't terrible, but a makeshift lineup. There was a few guys that some people have never heard of in their life in that lineup. So I mean, when that type of stuff happens to start a season, it's not fantastic. But I mean, I've said it. Arsenal should be better this year, and with the full team, I think they're going to be fine. But I mean, this weekend, I think they're going to lose, Beef, and I'm going to go 3-1 Chelsea. Maybe even 3-0.
So I'm just going to throw this out there. Arsenal was the only team to beat Chelsea twice last year. They were the only team.
Not this year.
Now, that Arsenal team was better than the team they currently have.
A full squad Arsenal is not bad.
A full squad Arsenal they have, I think they can win. Like, there's a chance they can win. I'm not saying they should win. I'm saying there's a chance they can win. I'm very confused as to what Arsenal is going to do. I don't think they're going to win. I think they might be able to pull out a tie, but I think they need to score if they're going to tie them. I think Arsenal is going to go to a back 5 in this game, personally. And they still don't have a striker, so I don't really know what they're going to do there. But I don't know. I'm going to say 2-1 Chelsea. They usually keep the games pretty close. I mean, 3-1's not an absurd scored line either. I think it could be 2-1, 3-1. I also think they could draw like 1-1, but 2 pretty good goalies depending on the day. So it could even be a 0-0 draw. But I'm just going to go 2-1 Chelsea. I think Arsenal is not going to win a game until their 4th game.
Yeah, it's a derby. Fans are back. It's a home game for Arsenal. I mean, a lot of things playing in favor of them. But, yeah, I mean, it's just a diminished lineup and a strong Chelsea lineup coming up. I believe Conte might be back and fit.
Everyone is fit against Arsenal.
Yeah.
Every player from Chelsea is fit. Reece James is back. Yeah. Chilwell's back. Conte is back. They're all fucking healthy.
Yep, so it's going to be tough to pick a lineup, but, I mean, Tuchel's going to put out a strong lineup as usual and have a lot of subs to choose from. I mean, even Kai Havertz didn't get the start last week. I'm curious to see how they start Lukaku. Definitely going to be through the middle, but I'm curious who they play around him. I'm assuming Pulisic will not get the start. I think Werner might play along Lukaku, if not as a striker, as a left winger, like he did last year. Not sure if Ziyech is back. He might be the only hurt one, Beef. But that right wing, I mean, could be Pulisic, could be Havertz, could be Mount, who the hell knows. But yeah, strong lineup probably coming out and excited for this game.
There are rumors saying that Odegaard will be ready for the Chelsea game. I don't think he'll start, but he might be on the bench. I think that's best case scenario. He played with them last year, so you never know. But I don't think they would start a player who hasn't been doing training with the team, especially if he's doing his medical, whether he did it today or he's doing it tomorrow. He could be ready because apparently he was already in London, but I just don't think he will start. That's why I'm leaning towards a back 5.
Yeah, I mean, he played with the team, like you said, so I'm assuming The game plan hasn't changed a ton. He's probably going to be able to come right in, fit right in. Fitness-wise, I'm sure he's fine. On top of that, I think he could definitely play. Like you said, maybe just be on the bench and come in. But the question for me was like, is there COVID rules or travel rules? You did say he was in London, but when a new transfer comes in, they tend to just have to quarantine anyway. So we'll see what's going on there.
The rumors I've been hearing is that Odegaard hasn't been in Spain in the last week and a half.
Yeah, so that's helpful.
He didn't even get a squad number with Madrid. They didn't give him a squad number. So I think that was kind of where like they were just trying to this transfer's been like done for like a week and a half. They just couldn't agree on like a buyback clause. That's all it was, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens in the coming days on Odegaard and injuries, etc. And then the last game is West Ham versus Leicester City. 3 o'clock to end the week. Oh, no, Monday. Yeah, 3 o'clock to end the match week. Good game, too. West Ham coming off a 4-2 win. Leicester coming off a 1-0 win versus Wolves. I think Leicester's the better team here. Better defense, even though Fofana's hurt. And, yeah, I'm definitely going to lean Leicester here. I'm going to go 2-1 Leicester. And West Ham does not get the barn-burning goals from last week.
Leicester lost both games to West Ham last year. This is a little interesting to me. I think I'm at the point I don't think Leicester's as good as everyone thinks they are.
No.
I'm gonna say that.
Well, how good do you think they are? Like top 6 good?
Top 6.
Okay.
Top 6 is at best. I don't think they can break into the top 4.
No, yeah. I'd say this year is a step back. They've been a top 4 contender for the past couple years. They've, in my opinion, choked those top 4 games over the past 2 years. Top 6 is definitely where they belong this year, but they're going to have to fight for it. It's not going to be easy.
Give me the hammies. Give me them. I like the hammies here. I think West Ham is a team that will always look good when they play their starting 11. Their starting 11 plays very well together. They have very good chemistry together. They are not deep by any means. So as I said earlier in the show, I think they'll struggle later on in the season. I think they'll have a very strong start to the season. I also think Leicester took a step back this year. I think they did. Their defense is good. And it showed at the end of last year when Iheanacho got really hot. If Vardy isn't scoring or if someone isn't scoring all their goals, they look lost. They need that like one guy who just buries all the goals. So when Vardy stepped down and got hurt, Iheanacho stepped up. Do I think Iheanacho's on the same level as Vardy? No. And I think Vardy is getting older, but I also think this West Ham starting 11, let me preface their starting 11 is very good. And I'm going to go 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. I'd say the teams are pretty equal, and anything could happen. Leicester, like you said, has taken a step back, especially with injuries. But, yeah, West Ham's a strong team, strong midfield, and Mikel Antonio looks good. And they're Spoots' hammies. So.
Can I change my bet?
No, you can't. You said it.
God damn it.
It's on the internet. You're screwed.
All right, I'm going to throw my Golden Boot winner out there randomly out of the blue. So I'm a value guy, so I'm not. I think Salah wins the Golden Boot. That is not my bet, though, because he's like the second. He's more favored than Lukaku, so I'm not doing that. All right, first of all, some of these names on this list are absurd. Why is Gabriel Jesus the 5th favorite to win the fucking Golden Boot? Get the hell out of here.
Position and team. Simple as that.
Get the hell out of here. I'm throwing it out there right now. Give me Danny Ings.
Danny Ings, wow. He's done it before.
I think he's going to be good in that Villa team because I think he has a lot of playmakers around him, and I think he's their only like sure goal scorer.
on the score sheet last week too with a penalty.
He takes their penalties too, which
That's big.
you take penalties, that helps you. I mean, I'll throw that out there. I mean, you got to look at all the top goal scorers, all the guys who win the Golden Boot, who takes all the penalties. Most of the guys who have won the Golden Boot, if not all of them,
Yeah.
they take the penalties.
Which is why Lukaku might be a good bet.
No, Jorginho.
That's true. That's going to be a battle.
Jorginho might take those pens.
That's true.
Which could, if he misses it by like 2 goals and Jorginho scores like 5 pens, that could show.
I'll be curious. I mean, Jorginho, yeah, he's the veteran, and he takes the pens. He scored all the pens last year, but yeah, Lukaku. I mean,
the only person I could think of in the
past, he might demand presence.
The only person I could think of in the past who didn't take the pens, he didn't win. He shared the Golden Boot. Was when it was Aubameyang, Salah, and Mane, because Mane doesn't ever take pens.
Yeah.
It's the only person I could think of.
That'll be interesting. I'll be interested to see the first Chelsea pen. Maybe it'll come this week, Beef.
I mean, probably. Granit Xhaka is going to start, so.
True. Red in the 10th. Penalty to Jorginho.
No, because you can't get a red and a penalty, so.
Oh, true. Second yellow? No.
Nah, he's more of a straight red guy, so it's either a straight red for stomping on someone 20 yards out, or maybe he'll just give up a pen. Probably.
We'll see. But that concludes match week 2 and this podcast. Thank you for listening to the Premier League special here. And we're going to be coming at you tomorrow, I think, with a Serie A prediction podcast with me, Paul, and Steve. I'm not sure if Beef will be there. You said you won't, Beef?
I don't know if I'll be there. Potentially. Okay. Potentially. I don't know yet.
We'll see. But podcasts are coming at you fast. Check out the YouTube channel for this video. Check out Spotify and iTunes for the audio version. And yeah, thank you for listening. Instagram and Twitter at @TheTutoPosto. Beef has recently been granted clearance for both pages. He was previously blocked from those accounts.
I've not logged into the Instagram account yet. I'm just saying. I've logged into the Twitter account, not the Instagram account.
There probably isn't a need for you to log into the Instagram account
not
yet,
really.
unless you start making posts, which would be helpful in the future. But yeah, Twitter's free reign. Just throw out ideas and see what sticks. But yeah, again, thank you for listening, and we love you. Ciao.
Ciao, bye, ciao, bye, ciao.